Right. I got a question for you. Ready for this? Why do the Jets need an outside firm to find a GM? Why does it seem like we're the only team that needs to use outside people to fill our front office? Why?
Well, it's very simple. You don't have a president of football operations that you trust. And there's a reason why this team continues to fail and fail and fail again. And there's one common denominator, but we all know that's not changing. So you know what? At the end of the day, I'm actually for this move. I know a lot of Jet fans don't want to hear it, but can you sit here and tell me right now that you trust Woody Johnson in selecting the next general manager? And
No.
I understand people are going to make fun of the Jets because, oh, it's Mike Tannenbaum. The last time we had success, he was a general manager. He took us to 2 AFC title games. So at the end of the day, I appreciate their experience. I also appreciate that Woody knows he can't do this by himself. And he's willing to say, I need help. And he's bringing in guys with experience. Is it going to work? Most likely not. But you're telling me you'd rather have Woody Johnson doing this on his own?
No. Listen, here's my thing with Mike Tannenbaum. I don't think he's a really good talent evaluator at all. At
Well,
all.
talent, yeah,
When
I agree.
Yeah, and to trust him to be able to pick someone who can evaluate talent, I have a lot of questions. You know, the and it's not just like it's not just Tannenbaum, right? It's the whole 33rd team, which is a company he started, right?
Right.
That I'm not even sure what the only thing I've known of the 33rd team is that they have a YouTube channel and they do some analysis work on actually a lot of Jets content. I think just because Mike Tannenbaum has such a connection to the Jets. But Mike, I did a video earlier. We were talking about Rex Ryan, and my issue with Rex was that he wasn't a good talent evaluator. Neither was Tannenbaum. And by the time 2011 came out, when Mangini's guys started aging out and more of Tannenbaum, Rex picks started making it onto the roster, you ended up with Tim Tebow running fake punts.
Right.
That's what we ended up with. I made an argument that Mangini should have really been the guy that should not have gotten fired. He was the culture changer. He built those teams, and Rex stood on his shoulders. Interestingly enough, Mangini is part of the 33rd team, but so is Adam Gase. So
Oh,
I
God.
don't know. Yeah. Here's the actual post from Schefter. Jets are retaining the 33rd team to support them in their upcoming general manager and head coaching searches. So it's going to be headed up by Tannenbaum and former Vikings general manager Rick Spielman. To be completely honest, Spielman, he lost his job because he wasn't that very good. Tannenbaum lost his job here because he wasn't very good. Tannenbaum ran the Miami Dolphins into the gutter after leaving the Jets. So I just have a lot of questions about this, and I know it probably won't be as bad as the time they brought in Charlie Casserly, and we ended up with Idzik. But it's never easy with this team. It isn't, and rebuild all over again. You're not going to have Aaron Rodgers here. Very likely, you're not going to have Aaron Rodgers here. Jordan Schultz came out with a post earlier saying that the Diana Rossini report was overblown, that Aaron Rodgers and Woody are actually pretty close.
That's Woody putting that out there. Let's be real.
Right. Could be. Yeah, but the fact is the money is still the money. It's $49 million in cap.
Right. You're going to eat it all next year. You know what surprised me?
It's either that, but if it's a post June 3rd, if it's a post June 1st cut,
right,
it's 14 million in 2025, 35 million in 2026. If he's on the roster next year, that 35 million could be pushed out all the way to 2028 if the Jets wanted to.
Eat it all next year.
Right. You can't pay guys like Brees and Garrett and JJ and Sauce, which I still believe in these guys are having a down year. They're still the offensive and defensive rookie of the year. You still have these guys, and you're not going to be able to pay them if you still have pay all of them. If you still have money from Aaron Rodgers, going to an asset that's not here.
I wonder if the Jets would ever consider this. I know it would be out of left field, but there was one coach here, in the last probably 15 years that knew players and knew talent and knew how to build an organization. I wonder if the Mets would ever consider bringing in a guy like Eric Mangini, maybe not to be the general manager, because I know Jet fans would revolt, but be a part of this organization. When he was here, he knew how to build a team. Now, he was an awful communicator. His players hated him and thought he was a jerk, but he knew players. He knew talent. He knew how to find guys and mold guys. And I wonder if he would ever be interested in a front office position where, in regard to talent, because at the end of the day, us as Jet fans and even the organization, one thing we consistently always do is over evaluate our talent. We think that Sauce is great, which, listen, 2 first-team All-Pros to start his career, that's great, but he's having an awful year now. All these draft picks that we've had over the years, how are they working out? How's the Max Mitchells, the Carter Warrens, the Stephen Hills, the Elijah Moores, the Ashton Day, all of these busts all over the place constantly. We need to get a legitimate talent evaluator in here. Enough of these cap guys, the analytic guys. Screw all this stuff. Get people who know football. And that's, look, I said I'm for Woody Johnson going out and getting help, but can we at least get consultation from somebody who is successful in the NFL?
Right.
Call Bill Parcells. I don't
Right.
know. Call Pete Carroll. Get him in here to help you with your search. We keep going to failed people. I mean, how many times are we going to dip in this well with the John Isaacs, the Tannenbaums, the McCagnons, now Joe Douglas? I mean, it's just time and time again. At the end of the day, we got to get people who know talent in here. Joe Douglas was supposed to be that. Clearly, he wasn't. Everyone still clings on to that one draft and forgets that he's had 5 other drafts that have been awful. Even this past year. Let's look at this past year's draft, Pat. Fashanu's just starting now because of injury. Corley was not dressed the first half of the season and did absolutely nothing for this team. And if you look at the rest of the draft picks, the people who are getting the most snaps out of this past draft class are all undrafted free agents. There is something wrong there. You drafted 2 running backs. One of them looks good, but you're telling me we couldn't use an offensive lineman? You get Isaiah Davis, the guy doesn't play. It makes no sense what Joe Douglas has done since that draft. And there's still Jet fans who I cannot believe in the right mind say he deserves an extension because they're living off 4 years ago. It blows my mind.
Listen, it is not difficult to pick good players in the first round. A GM makes his money in the 3rd round and on. Fashanu is a great pick. I think he's going to be a fantastic player. I think that situation is more on the coaches not pulling Tyron Smith out sooner. But I think Fashanu showed how much he was worth when Moses went down. And then when, I forget who, Hansen was playing right guard and Fashanu comes in. Never played guard before. And then he played fantastic. Corley was likely a miss. We don't know what Corley's going to be completely honest.
We knew that on draft night. Give me a break, yeah. Deebo Samuels. The guy doesn't have a route tree, and you have him as this is where my issue is with them, Pat. It's not that they drafted Corley. It's when I hear that he's the 3rd best receiver in the draft.
Or
what are you looking at?
Or when you're base and you get rid of someone like Mike Williams and then plug in Corley.
Another great move.
All because him and Aaron Rodgers have a rift there. I would have held on to Mike Williams. There was no reason, I think, to get rid of him. But of course,
Rodgers is doing the exact same thing to this organization with what he did to Green Bay on his way out. He destroys the locker room. I mean, it all started at the beginning of the offseason where him and Saleh were never on the same page. They clearly didn't like each other, regardless of what they portrayed to the media. Let's call a spade a spade. Aaron Rodgers flying halfway across the world during mini camp to go on vacation, and Saleh has no effing clue where the hell he is. You knew it was going to be disastrous there. How about this? Saleh drooling over his quarterback, saying he's another quarterback. Wow, look at this throw. Look at that throw. How about you act like you've been there? You've been a part of Mike Shanahan's system, some of the most successful offenses in the last decade, and all you're doing is drooling over your 40-year-old quarterback. It's like he's never seen anyone play the position. It goes to show you. We could say time and time again, Jets fans, bring Ben Johnson in here, the OC from the Texans, Cliff Kingsbury. At the end of the day, you need the right CEO type. You can't bring in a guy like Robert Saleh who's going to stick to one side of the ball. He did it good, but he stuck to one side of the ball and did absolutely nothing on the other side. That's why I am pushing so hard as I can with any influence that I have. I want Mike Vrabel in here. He's had successful offenses, successful defenses. The way he got terminated from Tennessee was complete bullshit in my mind. He is the guy. We don't know what Ben Johnson is. We know what Cliff Kingsbury is, an utter failure. People push for him time and time again. He had 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, potentially some of the best quarterbacks of all time in Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes in college, and he had sub 500 record. He gets the first overall pick with the Cardinals, drafts Kyler Murray, and runs that organization into the ground. Now look at what's happening with the Redskins. They can't score at all. I do not want him here. Get me the guy who's been behind the desk making the right decisions for before, and that is Mike Vrabel. Then you bring in a solid offensive guy, a solid defensive guy, guys who are not rookies. That was the biggest mistake that we made this past regime. Robert Saleh, what do? We pair him with a first-time defensive coordinator, a first-time offensive coordinator, rookie quarterback coach. This was a disaster from the beginning, and this is what happens when you have ownership that has no effing clue what they're doing. We can't do the same thing twice. You must learn from your mistakes.
But don't tell that to the 33rd team because they're already on Twitter. Hold on.
The popularity contest.
Here they are on Twitter already pushing how awesome the Jets job is going to be. Because they have Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Fashanu, ABT, Will McDonald, Jermaine Johnson, Quinnen, Quincy, and Sauce. Notice how all those, for the most part, besides Quincy, were first-round picks. The core of this team, the good players of this team, are only first-round picks. GMs make their money, like I said, third round and on. And what about this latest news? Did you hear about how...
I got something for you to laugh at. That's
Hold on. Hear about Aaron Rodgers is refusing medical scans? Did you see this?
Why is that? No, I did not.
Oh yeah, I made a whole video about it this morning. Apparently, according to Ian Rappaport, he's dealing with a leg, he's dealing with a knee, he's dealing with an ankle. I think it started back in week 5 when he got rolled up in Minnesota. And we've seen him hobble out. We've seen him like limp every now and then when he gets hit. And now Ian Rappaport is saying that not only is he hurt, but he's refusing medical scans because he doesn't want to be pulled off the field.
How does the CBA work in regard to that? Teams don't have the right to evaluate their own players?
I have no idea. I don't know. Someone in the comments going to have to elaborate that for us. But yeah, he's refusing medical scans. He doesn't want to get pulled off the field. It's clearly an ego thing with him. He doesn't want, the lasting memory of Aaron Rodgers to be, benched or hurt.
Does he have any injury guarantees?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. Remember the whole situation with Daniel Jones? They cut him because if he got hurt, he got guaranteed money towards next year. Right,
and that's kind of why. Not really. It was good. From the Giants' perspective, it was good on both parts because Daniel Jones went to the owner, said, "I don't want to be here if I'm going to be the 4th quarterback," and said, "Well, we don't want you here because we're going to owe you money." So everyone's going.
Right.
But if Aaron Rodgers is able to tell the Jets that he is not going to get medical scans, and then at the other side of his mouth say, "Well, I don't really have that much power in the front office," is total BS. Because I can't think of any other player or any other organization that would acquiesce to a player not getting medical scans, refusing to get medical scans.
I never heard of that. You want to hear something even funnier?
What?
I just got this text message while we're live from our boy Joe and Clark. Joe decided he's going to tweet something out and get ready for this. He goes, "Yup, Hall, as in Breece Hall, dances too much, only looking for the home run. Barkley hits the hole, hand hard and fast, and is is a bowling ball. Hall is soft. Guess who just liked that tweet? Brees Hall.
Oh, really?
He just goes, Brees Hall just liked my
I
tweet.
think
He's endearing himself to the fan base.
I think guys like Brees and guys like Garrett are probably trying to do too much because they know every time they touch the ball, they've got to make something happen. When in reality, you just got to get positive yards.
That's coaching.
It is coaching,
tells
but
you
it's
get what you
also
can get.
it's also the reality of the situation where they feel like they need to save the team every time they touch the ball because the defense can't stop a nosebleed.
I know.
And whoever and whether it's Downing or Hackett, whoever or Aaron Rodgers calling the plays, it's not working. There's no cohesive offense. It just isn't. So who knows? Maybe I would like to think that Mike Tannenbaum, Eric Mangini, and God, Adam Gase have.
And I thought I saw. Yeah. Okay. Yes. You're right.
I would think those three guys would, care
Most of that other
because
GM.
because they've been, yes, but I would think because they've been associated with the team, they've been associated with the Jets, that they would care and they would actually do a good job and try and get someone in here. Because think about it, also from a business perspective, if they do a good job, that's good for them because then other
they
teams may hire
assisted
them.
with the
Who knows?
Redskins, right?
They did assist with the Redskins, yeah.
Oh,
And the Redskins have gone down a little bit recently, but they are having a pretty good season. And I think from an
with a
offensive
rookie
standpoint,
quarterback.
from an offensive standpoint, defense has finally figured them out, and it's getting a little tougher for them.
Which happens every year under Cliff
Happens-
Kingsbury. It's always the same thing.
Happens every year with I think a lot of teams. A lot of teams. So let's just pray that they can figure it out. I don't know. So instead of wanting Rex Ryan, we get Mangini. I'm sorry. Instead of getting Rex Ryan, we get Tannenbaum. And apparently, Daniel Jones has the fourth best odds of being the Jets quarterback next year. Save it.
Fantastic. Well,
Yeah,
maybe they're
save
really
it.
tanking for number one.
Yeah. Last words.
Go get me Mike Vrabel. I don't care who you bring in as a GM. They're probably going to be unproven. Just, it is what it is. I mean, what are the odds? The odds are probably 60-40 that they screw this up again. I have no faith. But I'll watch.
I don't think a head coach that has better options out there is going to want to come to the Jets. So I think it's going to be an offensive coordinator again from the head coach perspective. I think it's going to be a new time head coach. And my money is on Joe Brady. That's where I'm putting my money because I don't think Ben Johnson's going to want to come here. He's going to have a lot of suitors. And who knows? They may pay him a lot of money to stay in Detroit. But I don't think Vrabel's going to come here. I don't think any of these other guys that have been head coaches before are going to look at the Jets and be like, yeah, I want to work under Woody Johnson. I don't think it's going to happen.
No, I don't want Pete Carroll. For those people out there.
I would take Pete Carroll in an advisory role, but I wouldn't take him as a coach.
Yeah, sure.
Like you said before. All right. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Let us know in the comments what you think. We're back to the Tannenbaum days. So, yay.